ago, I had a very strange dream that stuck with me. It was probably the earlier part of 2019. And basically, in the dream, I was in a very large city, even though the city was not busy. There seemed to have been practically nobody around compared to what Metropolis would be like. But I was in a city, I was shopping, people were going about everyday life. And all of a sudden, there was this voice that came on like a megaphone or a PA system. And it said that at the sound of a certain alarm, everyone needed to bow down and worship the government. Now, in the dream, there was no COVID-19 at this time. There was no government mandate on people wearing masks or vaccination. It was nothing like this going on. I didn't even know the word COVID-19 at that point in time. But it was just very odd the way the dream was. So in the dream, I was there thinking to myself, well, surely nobody is going to bow down and worship the government. And this is absurd, and I just continued. But then I realized that it was very serious, and they sounded this alarm. And in the dream, I closed my eyes and I shouted out loud that I will bow to no other name but the name of Jesus. And in the dream, as I'm closing my eyes and saying this out loud, I am thinking, nobody, surely this is America, nobody is going to bow. I'm going to be fine. But then after the alarm and after I make that loud declaration of faith, I opened my eyes and it was me and probably 4 other people who did not bow. And hundreds of people had bowed. Now, like I said, in a metropolis, there's hundreds of thousands, probably millions. In this case, it was probably just a couple hundred. It was a time when it wasn't very busy. Later on, as time would go by, the Lord showed me specific things from the dream and what they meant for everyday life when COVID had started, or when it was popularized, I should say. And I'm not here to discuss COVID-19 and whether or not you should take the vaccine or wear a mask. You pick that up with the Lord. The main thing that I wanted to say in this video is that in that dream, it sounded like a crazy thing that people will bow in fear to any leader, whether it's the government, whether it's on your job, whether it's on your PTA, whatever it is. It was demonic forces in leadership wanting people to bow. And it reminded me very much of Daniel chapter 3, when Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego refused to bow to the statue of gold after the music was played, and they were basically ordered by the government to bow and worship, and they refused to. And I know that's in the Old Testament, and a lot of times reading that story, it might seem like something very far off that could never happen again. But yet, according to the book of Revelation, we know that it will happen again. The Antichrist is going to make people worship him. And that may be not now, that's in the tribulation. But even in our everyday life, what do we bow to that's above God? What do we bow to when God says only bow to me? Is it peer pressure? Is it drinking excessive amounts of alcohol? Is it giving into other religions? Is it giving into drugs? There's always something that wants you and screams for your attention to bow your knee to it. But as a believer, the only thing that we must bow our knee to is Jesus. So as I always say, whether he is coming today, later tonight, next 10 years, next 100 years, we have to live occupying every day. But make sure every day you bow your knee to the name of Jesus alone. You do not want to remain here and bow your knee to the Antichrist. You don't want to die and realize that you're without Jesus and hell is your home. Bow your knee to only one name, the name of Jesus.